Welcome back everyone to more of our gameplay of the new Alpine Farming Expansion. And today is going to be a busy day. In fact, I'm not even sure how we're going to get everything done that needs to get done. First and foremost, it is harvest day. We've got wheat that needs to be gathered. I have swapped out some of our machinery. Of course, you guys remember the Big Bud very well and all the trouble we had getting it back here in our last video, but once we got it back here, it does the work in a very efficient manner. So we now have a combine. Let's hop in our combine. We got the case model. This is the biggest model that they make, along with the biggest working width for the header that they make. So let's go ahead. I'm going to start him over here at this end of the field. I've also done a little bit of landscaping. This is more for the future, simply because once we plant grass here, it's going to be hard to tell where the field begins and ends on this side of things. I mean, there's a road that runs in between the fields on that end, so that'll make it a little bit easier, but we may need to do some landscaping over there as well. But on this side, I feel like this is a good way to show us exactly where the field ends on this portion of it. All right, so let's get this guy lined up fairly well. It doesn't have to be exact, because the worker is going to take care of a lot of this. So let's go ahead and get him up and running. All right, so he's going to harvest the wheat. We're going to see exactly what kind of yield we get and how much money we make off of this. I am not opposed to working this field in more of a traditional fashion instead of converting it to grass. I'm not in any terrible hurry to get it turned over to grass if we're making a nice profit. But remember, we can make some nice money off the cow, so that's something I'm keeping in mind. Now, if you'll notice, this guy is laying down straw behind, and we're going to need that straw for the cows. So that's going to be a huge byproduct for us. Let's actually hop over to, where's he at? There he is. We're going to hop over to this guy because we've got ourselves a new trailer. This is what we're going to use for the wheat, but first things first, let's see, I've made the pop-up window here for AUTODRIVE a little bit bigger to help me out. So we want this guy on unload combine mode. We want him on field 4, which is an icon. Let's see if I turn this on. No, we're not quite close enough to see it. But it's right over there in between fields 3 and 4. So that's where this guy is going to sit, and essentially he's going to wait for the combine to call him, and then once he calls him, right now I've got him set to take this to the grain mill, but let's see if that's still our best option. Now the good news is, for the wheat, it's at the very beginning here, so where do we want this to go? Actually, I'm going to leave this at the grain mill. The supermarket has a higher price, but if you guys will remember the drop-off point at the supermarket, I haven't tested that out yet, so I'm not exactly sure how that's going to work. So let's go with the grain mill, because that should be, notice I said should be, much more straightforward. All right, before we get too far along here, let's make sure we got some things set on the combine. These are the settings for AUTODRIVE. You got 4 different areas here. The main one we're concerned with right now is the combine. Find driver, yes, he's going to find the closest driver. We're going to have him call at 80%. So when the combine is 80% full, he'll call. In this case, there's only going to be one that is nearby, but you can run several of these if you need to. So what I'm going to do, and again, we're going to leave this on so we can sort of see the route he's going to take here for just a moment, at least for a moment. We may turn this off, but this is all from this triangular icon down in the bottom left-hand corner. All right, I think we're all good to go. We're going to turn this on, and this guy should, notice how I say should. All right. Okay, so for some reason, he has decided that he's not going to go anywhere right now. So we're going to give him a moment. Looks like he might need a second to decide exactly what he's going to do, or if he's going to do it. Yeah, there we go. Now he's finally going to at least do something. Whether it's the right thing or not, we have no idea. So he can wait on the field. Maybe that's what he's doing. we'll have to see. Now, one thing I do need to check on is what is the fill level we're using? Okay, unload fill level. I keep it very low because what I want him to do is as soon as the combine calls him, fills him up, no matter the amount, I want him to go ahead and take it to be sold. In this case, normally it would be take it to the silo, but this way he doesn't just sit around. We want to get that money as soon as we can. So it looks like he's actually here. He's been called by the combine, it appears. Even though the percentage doesn't bear that out. I'm sure that's what happened. So he's calling there, and he's basically going to sit and wait for the combine. And I'm perfectly fine with that if he just wants to sit here. He's not destroying anything. Okay, so now let's hop back over to the main farm area. So the main farm area, well, for one thing, we got some cleaning to do. And we need to take care of these cows. So I've neglected these cows while I've been focusing on field 4, doing some testing over there. And you can see it has not gone well. So we need hay over here. We need water just to keep these guys going. And of course, straw is going to be available whenever we're done with today's harvest. So the productivity, not too good right now, but we're going to fix that as time moves on. But right now, we need to sell some milk. And that brings me over to this display, which unfortunately we've got a light in the way. Not sure if I'm going to be able to get rid of that, but if I can, I will. Because this is actually part of a mod. This is from Animal Expansion mod that I've actually done a breakdown video here on the channel for this. So this shows us how much milk we have, 17,961 liters. So we've got two options here. If I come over to this area, we can press the R key and we can load up all of this and basically request a driver to come by and pick this up. Now, it doesn't actually send a physical tank and tractor over here to it, but it's going to pay us $48,416 if we decide that we just don't want or don't have the equipment needed to load up the milk and take it to be sold. Now, for right now, we're going to continue taking it to be sold, and for that, we're going to use this particular tractor. But one thing I'm going to do is, wow, this guy has the great turning radius. I'm not a huge fan of this type of trailer and the way this works. I'm not a huge fan, especially if you happen to be driving it. All right, so let's see if we can get autoplay working for this guy. So we've got pick up and deliver. He's going to pick up here at the milk pickup location on the farm, which is right over there where we just came from. He's going to take it to the chocolate factory, and what is he loading? He's loading milk. So that's basically how that works. Let's take a quick look at the pricing. All right, let's scroll across. Where is our milk? And it looks like, oh yeah, the chocolatier has much better pricing. But again, the chocolatier is where I want to take this. We want to take it over to Willy Wonka as often as possible, simply because that seems to be the easiest way for us to get this done. So I'm going to drop him off about right here. They seem to have issues if I start them at the location. So let's go ahead and fire this guy up, and let's see if he gets to where he needs to go without issue. If not, then we'll have to work on him a little bit more. All right, and once he gets here, let's watch the bottom right-hand corner to make sure he's actually loading up the milk. And once he does that, we will go back over and check. Yeah, there we go. So he's loading this up. Now, this isn't going to take very long at all. All right, we're going to put this guy on 2 instead of in infinite loops for him where he just continually goes back and forth. We just need him to go probably twice. Let's see how much milk we've got left. 9,900, so he can hold 8,000 in this tank. So yeah, that'll get him another full load after this one. So it looks like he's off and running. So with that in mind, let's go see. Oh, we got perfect timing because this happens to be the grain mill. In fact, you can see the location I have set right over there. Okay, he didn't get stuck. He has gotten stuck before when I was testing this out. So let's make sure that he drops this off as we need him to do. And there we go. Not the greatest location there, but hey, he's dropping it off. And if you look in the top right-hand corner, we're making money. Let's see how much we get from this first load. 14.9. All right, so not the greatest amount of money. Of course, it is wheat, so we can't ask for too much. Cotton is an amazing crop as long as the prices are high. So we may want to play with that a little bit. It looks like he's going to stop there. We'll simply hit continue, and that should have him on his way. Meanwhile, we're at 40% on the combine. Let's see how we're doing on that milk. So this guy is on his way. So again, we can get rid of the locations and all of this by simply clicking this icon, the triangular icon there, and then all you're going to see is just the next waypoint or two out immediately in front of it. So if you're looking for more of the realism, if you actually want to feel like these are hired workers doing the work, there you see our guy up in front there who's just leaving the grain mill. Then you can turn some of this off so that you don't see it on the screen. So right now we want to make sure this guy gets to the chocolatier or gets to the Willy Wonka's factory, drops off that milk, because we want to make sure there's plenty of chocolate. It would be kind of bad in this area if there were no chocolate. We can't have that. All right, now the path over here is going to look a little bit wonky. That's because, as I mentioned earlier, when I was testing the grain mill location earlier, my guy kept getting stuck. So for a temporary fix, I've simply widened out that route. It looks a little weird, but for now, it's serving the purpose. So that's why it looks very different over there. So there you see the chocolatier ahead. That is a huge building. If you take a look at that building versus all of the other areas, yeah, that's large. All right, so let's make sure our guy gets in. We want to make sure he sells the milk and then gets back to the farm. So again, he's going to be very careful through the turns. Hopefully he doesn't run over anything, and even more importantly, I hope he doesn't get stuck. All right, so here we go. He's going to head in. And I know he's going to go over to the drop-off location because that's where I ran the route. He doesn't have any choice. There's no other way to get through here. But now the question is, does he sell the milk? And we'll watch the bottom right-hand corner for that. And sure enough, there he goes. Now in the top right-hand corner, you can see the money going up as the milk gets sold. So here in just a moment, it'll pop up and give us, once it's done, it'll give us a total of what we made for this 8,000 liters of milk. There you go, 22,444. Okay, so once again, he's going to stop. I need to look into that more because I don't want him to stop. I actually want him to head back immediately without any interaction from me. But that is not what is happening. Okay, our guy is back here. He's waiting on the combine. And sure enough, man, right on cue. Excuse me, whoever owns Field 3, I'm very sorry. We're just driving all over your crops right now. All right, so apparently he has been called by the combine. He is going to go around the field so as not to destroy any more crops than is absolutely necessary. And again, there are some options in this gear icon to handle some of this behavior that they have, whether or not they park on the fields, field levels, all that kind of thing. You can set up in those settings. All right, so it looks like he is waiting and should pull forward here momentarily. So far, everything seems to be going good. All right, here he goes. Let's see how much crop he actually destroys in this process. Obviously, he's going to have to destroy some. All right, so he pulls out maybe a little bit earlier. Now, you notice he's not actually destroying anything. That is part of the mod. I'm actually not sure if there's a setting where you could turn on the crop destruction, but I kind of like this where it doesn't destroy the crops, mostly just because sometimes things go haywire with these mods and the behavior isn't exactly what it should be. So to save you some grief when that happens, I do like that the destruction is turned off, but the behavior was actually pretty good. He pulled on to the crops maybe a little bit earlier than I would prefer, but overall, it's kind of hard to complain about that behavior. He's getting the job done, so now he's going to back up and spin it around. Okay, I like this. The large working with means that we're almost done. He'll finish up this turn and have another full turn and probably just a small portion after that. Now, what I would like to be doing right now is actually picking up this straw, but we're going to have to wait on that, and I'll probably have to do that off camera simply because we don't have, as of right now, another tractor available to do that. So here's our milk, once again being delivered. You notice in the bottom right-hand corner, 8,000, so he did make it back. He filled up as he needed to without our help. Oh, and I see Helper C is blocked by something. What on earth is he blocked by? Well, as luck would have it, he's blocked by the tractor. Okay, of course he is. All right, let's go ahead and we're going to manually take over this guy and get him. All right, there we go. Maybe he'll just continue on his way. So even at the best of times, you can't exactly say that these are fully automated mods. This also gives us an opportunity here. You can see I've done some landscaping on the side to try to distinguish where the field ends and where the grass begins, since once we turn this over to grass, it's going to be very hard to tell. Also, I've done a little bit over here in this area. Not as far as landscaping, but I wanted to see, like, what are we going to be able to put over here? So let's take a quick look at that. Again, just looking into the future. So animal pens. What we want over here is a large cow pasture. I want one more cow pasture at least on this map before we turn our attention to some other animals, maybe horses or the sheep, that kind of thing. Maybe even pigs. We'll see how things go. But the large cow pasture, we have enough money right now to do it. However, you notice this is going to take up a lot of this area. So with that in mind, I am thinking if we're even going to be able to do this. Now, I haven't moved. Let's actually try to move the big bud out of the way because it's saying it's colliding with an object, which I'm hoping is the big bud. If it is the big bud, if that turns out to be the case, then we're perfectly fine. Because we'll get that moved out of the way. I mean, we have enough money to go ahead and place that right now if we wanted to, but I really don't want to place it until we have enough money to not only put it down, but also put plenty of cows inside. And that's also going to mean that we're at a time where we have plenty of grass, and we're not there right now. Okay, back to the animal pens. All right, here we go. Okay, so it looks like we do have the ability. I was worried every once in a while on a map, there'll be something underneath that will be messing things up. So it looks like we're going to have some options on where we can put this. Not a huge number of options. As you can see, this is going to be a little finicky about where we can place it. It's going to have to be along in there. So that's fine. We're not going to get that many pieces of equipment or buildings in here, but we can get what we need in here. And along those same lines, under silos, hayloft is what we're going to be using. So if we double click on the hayloft, you can see it requires much less there. But as we get too close to the road over here, it's going to start colliding with that object. So I think we're going to be able to get a hayloft over here. Probably would put it like over in this area somewhere. So we're going to have the cows right here and maybe the hayloft somewhere right over here. And that's probably going to be about it for this area. That leaves us with this area over here where I'm thinking we could put maybe some storage for the vehicles, maybe a shed over here. But that's looking like how it's going to shape up. So for right now, let's go ahead and see. Okay, yeah, this guy needs me to hit continue. What about our chocolatier? Okay, he's done as well. We're We're going to hit continue. Again, I got to do a little more research and see exactly what's holding them up there. I'm sure it's something I've done. That's generally the way it works out. I've made some sort of a mistake when placing down the locations or whatnot. But $406,000. That is awesome. We are on our way. We are on our way to having enough money but the next thing we're going to need to do in our quest to take care of our poor cows today is, of course, we're going to need water. We're going to have to take care of the water, and we'll do that here in just a second. But we're going to need to get some hay, and we don't have any hay equipment right now. And the reason I mention that is we come into our garage. So let's take a look at what we got in our garage. First of all, the owned items. The owned items are these that we started the game with. So here's our 3 tractors, milk tank, water tank, and so on. Okay, you notice in here, there are no tedders, windrowers, that kind of thing. All of those are gone. I sold those off because I wanted to step up in production and get wider working width, better equipment. So I got rid of those. If we go into our leased items, let's take a quick look at what all we have. So we got the big bud that we know about. We got our case. We've got the AgroLiner. That's our that's got the wheat in it right now. That's our trailer. And of course, here's your header for the combine. There is this wonderful, wonderful seeder that is apparently also fertilizing. Either that or I've got a bug of some kind in the game. And then we have the animal broom. Now, the animal broom is what we're going to use to clean off the area in front of the cows. Okay, so this guy is going to load up what little bit is left, and we're actually going to turn him off and disconnect him because this is a great opportunity to grab our animal broom, which is right over here. So, of course, you've got multiple options here for how to clean the area around the stalls. In this case, what I'm going to use is a little different mod. You can also use the, let's make sure we get this lowered. All right, so we're going to lower it down. It starts to spin, and you can see it's cleaning as we go. So yeah, multiple ways of doing this, but this was actually a pretty fun one. I hadn't seen this before, and so when I was looking through the mods, I saw it, I thought, now that looks pretty neat. So here we are. All right, so we're done with this guy. So cleaning took a grand total of, what, about 5 seconds to get through there? All right, so we're going to drop that off. And actually, we're going to come back over to this guy and use him for the water tank. And that will give me an opportunity. I talked earlier about how we've got a mod on here that I have, animal expansion mod. Part of that mod is water. So basically I come over here to this. Let me go ahead and bring back up F1, that menu, so you can see it. So if we want to purchase a water fill point, this will keep us from having to manually deliver water in the future. So that's something that we're probably going to go ahead and use in the future. You don't necessarily have to. It's not going to cost a whole lot to build it. So let's go ahead and have them install that. It'll take a day or so to get it installed. And then if we decide not to use it in the future, then we certainly don't have to. But it'll be there just in case we're running low on time. Because again, there's just not enough time in each of these videos to get done everything I want to get done. And I want to bring you guys along for as much of this as possible. So we're going to go ahead and at least get a little bit of water in there for these guys so we don't risk running completely out. All right, there we go. So let's go ahead and let that do its work. So water, they're going to get a little bit more here. I'll work on the hay. but I'm going to show you guys exactly what we're going to do for hay production going forward. Now, this is on a much larger scale that I'm planning for. This is field 4 that I'm planning for instead of this area back here on our beginning farm. So under mowers, this is what I'm looking at. The big Krone mower. I absolutely love this thing. Been using it now for, what? We had it as a mod in 17, and then I forget. It was in the game before that. But this is just a beautiful thing. Huge working width. 9.9 meters, so almost 10 meters there. You're going to have these that come down. Yeah, this is a beautiful thing. Does its work very quickly and very efficiently. So we're going to have that. Then we're going to probably purchase another tractor that's going to be dedicated to the tedder, windrower, and that type of thing. But for now, initial leasing cost, 19 grand. That's perfectly fine. We'll go ahead and lease this. And I will spend some time testing this out. And then next time we come back together, hopefully we'll be able to use this wonderful mower. But I need to set up some course play routes for it and that kind of thing, and give it a little bit of testing. Okay, while that's happening, let's see how everybody else is doing. So this guy is... Okay, so we've reached the end. You can see up ahead our... we had the message earlier that our worker had completed his task. So once again, owner of field 3, I apologize. I'm so sorry for what I'm about to do. Same thing with field 2. I apologize, and I might not even gotten in the right spot there. All right, let's open the cover. I'm going to hop out and get over into the combine so I can see just how badly I messed that up. Am I going to be able to reach? Oh, yeah. Yeah, we're reaching just fine. So we're going to let this guy unload the remainder of the wheat. And then we're going to get this guy parked and get the big bud back to work after I pick up and deliver some of this straw. All right, so right now we're going to move this guy out of the way for a moment, and that will allow us to get this tractor back up and running. So he's going to head to the grain mill because the field percentage is above, what did I set it at? 20, I think. 20%. So at 40%, he's going to go ahead and take it to the grain mill, which is exactly what I want him to do. Here you can see field 4 location, field 3 for right there. Already planning ahead a little bit for what we're going to be doing in the future. We're going to hop out of a moving vehicle, which is always a smart thing to do. Head back over to our water. All right, there we go. So this is going to be another about 7,000. Yeah, this is going to get us up where we need to be for right now. We won't fill it up completely, but it will take care of what we need in the near term. All right, so now we need to grab our guy. Okay, so have we unhooked this yet? Yes, we've unhooked that. So we need a loading wagon. Let's actually take care of the loading wagon right now. Let's see, what do we want to do for a loading wagon? We've got some options here. I am a big fan. Here are the new ones as part of the Alpine Farming Pack. This one would be on top of an existing truck, so which we won't have that one. Here are the ones that we've used in the past. Specifically, this one is the one we started the game with. This is a nice model, but the capacity is not quite where I need it to be. I'm a big fan of the Krone one, simply because it has a large capacity, 56,000. The max capacity is going to be right here. This is it, 56.5 with the expansion on the back. But I like the Krone. I like the Fendt as well. It's only at $42,000, but I like it simply because of the look that we have. The other difference is going to be in the amount of power it requires. 240 horsepower here, 200 horsepower here. So we need to take that into account when we go and spend a little bit of money. So what do we need as far as a tractor? So if we go under large tractors, all of these tractors are going to start out pretty high, up in the high 200 horsepower range to low threes. So we could go with the Case Optimum series. I've gone New Holland in the past. These are the two brands I'm most familiar with. Now, I live right in the middle of John Deere country, so I'm very familiar with the brand of John Deere, but I've gotten so used to using these two over the years. Case has become my favorite. So what I'm actually going to do is let's go ahead and configure this one. So the engine setup, we're at 288 horsepower right now. If I use the maximum horsepower, that's 313. Okay, so we go 288 to 313. I like that because that sort of future-proofs it a little bit on pretty much anything we're going to attach to this thing. I'd rather go overkill, unlike in real life where you definitely wouldn't want to pay any more money than you had to. I do like to use the wheel weights, so we're going to drop those on there. You can also do wide tires. You can do wide tires and the weights. All sorts of stuff you can do here, even including the dual wheels. But I think what I'm going to do is just stick with the basic setup and add the wheel weights, lease this thing for $12,900, plus, of course, a daily rate and an amount per hour. All those things will still apply, but we're going to go ahead and lease this thing. One of my absolute favorite things to do in this game is to buy equipment and buy land. So I will not shy away from doing exactly that. All right, I'm actually going to move this guy back out of the way here. I was going to use him for something, but I've decided let's just go ahead and use our new tractor for that. All right, let's let this guy at least get done with this. Take a quick look. Oh yeah, that's several days of water. Now, I want to move on. Let's get this guy continued so he can move back to the farm. And we've got some cleaning up to do. Let's move this guy out of the way. And for now, I'm just going to drop him off right here in this corner. There we go. The big Krone mower and our new tractor. And this is a Hoss. I absolutely love this thing. This is my go-to for the heavy lifting. Absolutely amazing. Love the Case tractors. All right, so now to go with that, we need to pick up our loading wagon. So let's come back into our loading wagon, and I think I'm just going to go with the Krone model since it has maximum capacity, and that'll mean fewer trips back and forth to the hay barn or to the cow barn. So this model, I've used it a lot, but it just, something about it. Even though it costs a little bit more, I just like the Krone. So let's go with the Krone. All right, so let's zoom in a little bit here. The wheel brand, I don't care a whole lot about that. Wheel setup, I do like the wide tires though. I just like the way that looks. Cover, yeah, we're getting a cover. We're absolutely doing that. All right, once again, we're leasing it, $9,000. Let's go ahead and lease that. And so where did it drop that thing? Thankfully, not on top of our head. All right, so let's grab this bad boy. And this is how we'll end today's video. I am going to pick up this huge, huge loading wagon. Look at that. That is just a beautiful thing. Maybe the colors clash a little bit, but we're not going to worry about that. We're just going to enjoy just how awesome this thing is. And in fact, let's see. For today, let's go ahead and just deliver. And we want this to deliver it to, go ahead and park it on the farm. I'm going to get him out here onto the road a little bit. I haven't messed with quite everything I need to get in and out of the farm for these guys. All right, so we're going to let him get to it once again. If you want to see this, so right now he's going to pull through the chocolate area, not even worried about that. What I really want to see is how this guy does, since this is the biggest piece of machinery that we've really tried to use so far in some of these narrow areas. So far so good. I'm sure the driver would prefer that we went a different route, but yeah, looks like he's going to be just fine through there as we get bigger and bigger equipment. So that is going to do it for today. Now, folks, I've got some stuff to do on the farm, a little bit of work to do on the straw, make sure that our cows are taken care of there. Then I'm going to start doing some testing with our new huge Krone mower, and we'll be back again next time to share the results. So that's going to do it for today. Thank you so much for joining me, and stay around for more gameplay of the new Alpine Farming Expansion.